Welcome back to our Life in Abundance series. I hope you've been enjoying it. I hope you've had those conversations with the Holy Spirit that need to happen about His grace towards you, His interest in your whole self, that we are holding nothing back from Jesus, and that your needs that you were created with, He will supply. So right now I want to talk about what does a life in abundance, what does that really look like? There are two ways and two things that happen when we tap in to God's abundance that I want to share with you right now. And number one, when we tap into God's abundance, what happens? We stop competing. And not because we're number one or we're the best or they can't even keep up, that kind of attitude. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about it's the realization that the only race that I'm in is to see how fast I can get to Jesus and see Him in His full glory. That is the race that I am in. My eyes are locked in on the prize. I am not in competition. I'm not in competition with other people. I'm not in competition with myself. I'm not in competition with any measure of either culture or just things that we face every day. No, I am fully at rest. I am stewarding. I am taking care of the things that He's called to, what's in front of me, right? But I know that there's grace for today. I am not in a competition. You are not in a race. You are not in a competition. You are not in a hurry. Can we just break that off right now? Because I feel like sometimes there's just this anxiety of I should be this by now, or I should have done this by now. But no, God will supply everything you need. There is grace for today. Abundance means that God has enough for me and enough for everyone else at the table too, right? A mindset of lack will have you aggressively competing for what you think will fulfill you, but a mindset of abundance will allow you to actually trust that He has provided for you. He's prepared a place or that opportunity, everything you need just for you. You are not in a competition. If you didn't get that job, it's okay. I have an abundance. Didn't get that guy, I have an abundance. Didn't get that opportunity, I have an abundance. Again, this doesn't negate our responsibility to steward or even to pursue things that He's called us to, but it does make things that we feel like will fulfill us a lot less disappointing when it doesn't happen the way that we imagine it to happen, right? It takes all of our eggs, so to speak, out of one basket and puts it back in His hands where they belong, I'm not going to lie and say that you have all the time in the world because we don't know how much time is allotted and destined for us, right? But I do know that whenever we take God out of a box, when we say, my time is past, whatever, He's the redeemer of time. And He can do more in 10 minutes than we can do in 10 years in our own strength. That is the kind of God that we serve. He can accomplish exactly what He needs to get done through us, that He's called us to partner with Him, to co-labor with Him through a yielded life. He is efficient because He is sufficient, right? He is an efficient God because He is a sufficient God. And jealousy, coveting, all of those kinds of attitudes of I don't need this because I'm already whatever, I'm good on my own, or I'm trying to break other people down so I can be built up or something like that. It's just a telltale sign that you don't believe that God has enough for you, that God has enough for you. That's what coveting is. It's a mistrust in the wrong things. It's not trusting that, yes, God is taking care of me because He has an abundance for me. When we realize the generosity of Jesus, right? The generosity of Jesus, it allows us to easily hope, celebrate other successes, and eagerly await our own. So, number two, a life of abundance means He's given me the ability to live at rest. To live at rest. Again, this is kind of taking it away from the hustle of it all, the standards that we think we should be meeting right now that are really unachievable because it's just the rat race, right? A life of abundance means He's given me the ability to live at rest because in abundance, I have more than enough. So when I find myself in situations or with people that feel like they're draining or they're taking everything that I need to survive, I don't panic. Because I know that He has an abundance for me. What am I talking about? So let's say that you're in a situation that you're like, oh, I'm going into this meeting, I'm going into this conversation, whatever. and you feel like you're just preparing yourself to be totally emotionally, spiritually, physically drained from it all, I would just invite you to pause and say, Holy Spirit, I know that you have an abundance for me. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, etc. Whatever you need, that fruit you have provided for me. A life stewarded in the secret place, yielded to the Holy Spirit, yields a lot of fruit. So I know that I have enough for me to eat, metaphorically, and enough to give away. If I have enough peace for myself, I have an abundance in you that I can also extend peace, that I can extend joy in situations that don't seem particularly joyful in the natural, right? But no, I have this thing that I can tap into that I know that you will supply because you are an abundant God. In abundance, I don't have to toil, so it's okay to rest. I don't have to work till I'm dead or, have burnout. I'm not caring what people think about me 24/7 or trying to prove myself because I know that the Lord is my defender and he's my sustainer. I'm going to develop these rhythms of rest, these things that I know, again, we were created with needs. We talked about that earlier. We were created with the need for rest, right? God himself rested on the seventh day. He exemplified what rest looked like. Jesus talked about in the Gospels how the Sabbath was created for man, not man for the Sabbath, right? It was created so that we can pause. We can pause. We can be refilled up again with what he has for us. Toil and lack say, never allow yourself to stop because you're going to get behind. You're going to do whatever. But Jesus says, come to me and I will give you rest. I will give you rest. That's the abundance that he has for us. A life of abundance has planted seeds in the ground. It's done what it needed to do. And now it can trust that God will have the rain come. Life will happen and I will not go without. When you find yourself drained, burned out, empty, or dry, remember the abundance. Remember the abundance. So that's two things that happen whenever we tap into a life of abundance in Jesus. We stop competing and we are allowed to rest. That is a life of abundance.